5 years old, Wichita native Corleone Young fell in love with the game of basketball.
He did, and after starring at East High, his talents would take him to the NBA and later overseas. KSN Sports Director Chris Arnold going one-on-one with Corleone Young. Chris.
Well, Jeff, Emily, Young is an example of how dreams can come true, but sometimes they just don't always pan out like we had hoped. But now is the next chapter of Young's life, coming full circle to where it all began. Corleone Young is a Wichitan through and through.
From 24th in Lorraine is where I grew up, from the northeast side of town.
And it's where his mom introduced him to the game of basketball at a young age.
Started off at 5 years old. I found something that I just like to do. You know, I gained a love for it. You know it. As far as the records I set, the block shots, the rebounds, I had a great supporting cast. I had Laverne Smith, Jamaica's race. That's just to name a few.
His head coach, Ron Allen, had a front row seat to it all.
His athletic abilities were so natural. You know, he was a kid that was 6'7", 6'8", and he could play like a guard, had a great passion for the game. He had the whole package.
And whether it was the Pit, as the old East High gym was known back then, or other places across the city, crowds came in droves to see the young phenom put on a show.
They used to sell out Coke Arena.
We had 8,000, 9,000, packed it out. That was standing room only almost, outside to get your ticket. And I mean, it was just a wonderful environment, and we came out on top.
After his junior year, Young would take his talents to Hargrave Military Academy, winning a state title and positioning himself for one of the most important decisions of his life.
I'm here today to announce my intent to declare myself eligible for the NBA draft.
My mom asked me, what you want to do? She blessed me. And that's why I love my mom to this day, because she blessed me to achieve my dream.
It would be on June 24th, 1998, Young's dream would come to fruition with a phone call.
Everybody went quiet. He said, hey, how you doing? This is the Detroit Pistons. This is Rick's son, and we want to welcome you. It's the greatest feeling I ever had.
But his NBA career would be short-lived. In all, he played just 3 games, 15 minutes in all, over one season.
Played a few games. When asked about my year there, teammates that I had, wonderful. They got me through that year.
He'd latch on with the Philadelphia 76ers the following summer for a short period of time before taking his talents overseas.
I went to the IBL, I played in the CBA. Then after that, I went overseas, played in China, spent time in Italy, spent time in Israel, played in Australia, played in Russia.
Before finally hanging up his jersey and sneakers in 2010.
My 1 minute of fame is a kid's dream. Never regret.
Now, his passion for the game has shifted.
Working hard.
To trying to help and mold young kids and young athletes by putting on camps and training them to be the best they can be.
Social skill teacher. I drill social skills. Communication, discipline.
He's also taken on a job as an assistant coach for the new semi-pro basketball team, the Wichita Wizards. And he's even co-authored a book with his mentor, Kevin Harrison.
The book is called One and Done.
Over the course of the last 4.5 years, we've got enough content to where I think we really have a good book.
I'm gonna put them in my life and how I grew up, the decisions I made, the thought process that I made in making those decisions, the good and the bad.
As for the next chapter in the life of Corleone Young,
as I found that happiness, and I found that happiness again right back where I came from.
And Young's book is expected to be released sometime next month. Now, a major message both Young and his co-author Harrison are hoping people get out of it is that even when you get knocked down in life, if you can get up again, you can prevail. Chris Arnold, KSN News 3. Well, these words, "I'm going to fight it," have become the motto for Tracy Piper. The longtime freshman girls head basketball coach at Salina Central isn't just fighting to beat opponents on the court, but also continues to fight for her own life off of it. It's here in the gym at Salina Central High School.
Hold that follow through though, okay?
Where Tracy Piper's passion for the game of basketball.
Over the top, there you go.
And teaching it to others.
Try not to jump on the free throw, just come right up to your toes, okay?
Shines bright. She spent the better part of 2 decades leading young women on the court. Active and vocal during practice, it's hard to believe that Piper has been in a battle with her own health, beginning in August of 2018.
Right before school started, I'd had some issues, so I went to the doctor, and it ended up, we did an exam, and I had endometrium cancer.
After a full hysterectomy and several rounds of radiation and chemotherapy later, Piper thought her battle with cancer was over. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
I went back for a 6-month checkup in August, and actually they told me I had 2 masses, one in my abdomen.
Piper had the tumor removed and was back on chemo once again.
They've got me on a pretty aggressive routine, I think. Really the main thing is a fatigue, tiredness, and it hurts my joints and legs after chemo.
While the treatment has robbed her of her energy, it hasn't taken away her spirit and her drive to be in both the classroom and on the court. Because in the long run, like in the game of basketball, she strives to win.
I got 8 grandkids, and then like 9 step grandkids. So everything I do, I'm going to be here to watch them grow up, and so I'm going to fight it every step I can. I want to be that person that in 30 years is going to say, I've been cancer-free for 30 years.
Well, the sport of baseball has provided Wichita native Jordan Knox an interesting journey, one filled with success, trials, and tribulations, and through it all, he's managed to persevere through injuries to get back on the diamond with a shot to play at the NBC World Series for the very first time. Whether it's the ball hitting the mitt or winding up to throw, baseball is home for Jordan Knox.
Baseball is in my family, man. It all started with my great-grandfather, Bobby Boyd. He was the first African-American to get to be signed by the Chicago White Sox.
Knox would play baseball for Wichita East, helping lead them to a City League co-championship in 2012. That afforded him the opportunity to play at the next level at Butler Community College.
Come springtime, I got, I think, what was it, all-conference designated hitter my freshman year.
Knox would look to find greater success after transferring to the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, until an injury stopped him in his tracks.
I made a dive and catch, then the inner squad, then tried to throw the ball, I couldn't lift my arm.
Knox would later find out that he tore his rotator cuff.
It was hanging on by a thread.
Told he may never play baseball again, Knox took to finding ways to rehab and bounce back.
I was my own guinea pig, man, just breaking down different movements, seeing the limitations of my range of motions, just different workout methods.
Knox would return to the diamond.
They will watch that one get out of here as Knox hits a 3-run homer.
And play 2 more years at UAPB, but it's what he learned while rehabbing
Stay tall, Cole.
that helped him forge a new path.
Snap up, good.
Last year, he opened his own gym
Okay, Paul.
called Fort Knox Fitness,
Come on, let's go, I'm right here.
using the knowledge he gained to pass on to others.
If I can push them as hard as they can for an hour, 50 minutes, 45 minutes, I've done my job, and they keep on getting stronger and stronger.
But things have come full circle for Knox. In May, for the first time in 2 years, he was out on the diamond, playing for the Kansas Cannons baseball team.
My third at bat, I hit a home run, so my first game, hit a home run.
The team ended up getting an automatic bid into the NBC World Series. It's a fitting swan song for Knox, who says this will be his last go-around playing competitive baseball.
I feel like I owe that to myself, you know, to just try to be the best I can be for one last time.
Competitive drive. Dave Unruh served Sedgwick County as a commissioner for 16 years before retiring in January.
You know, that's right, Kendra, but what his interests were before that may surprise you. It's here on the Sedgwick County Commission we saw Dave Unruh sit for the better part of 2 decades. But you have to turn back the pages of Unruh's story to the 1950s to see where his competitive side came from.
I wrestled a lot in high school and college.
Unruh started on the mat from 1957 to 1960 for Wichita East High.
I placed third in the state a couple of years, and I was a city league champ a couple times, and a district and regional champion.
That would land him a wrestling scholarship to Kansas State.
I was high point man on the team for 2 years, and I was team captain.
Even when his days as a wrestler were done, he'd helped coach his 2 sons and many more kids over the years.
And that evolved into what eventually became the Wichita Wrestling Club. And we were, at that time, the leader, probably not only in the state, but probably a leader in the nation as far as kid wrestling.
His contribution to the sport wouldn't go unnoticed. In 2017, his name would be etched in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I was awarded the Lifetime of Achievement in Wrestling at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
From wrestling to public service and now retirement, Unruh spoke about how he'll channel his competitive drive now.
That competitive drive, I hope, yields a little bit to wisdom and to maturity.
This is the Brandon Johnson most of us know.
We've got a lot of work to do and a lot of great things that can be accomplished.
Representing the community as city councilman for District 1. But here is the Brandon Johnson you might not know.
I was a starting running back in 2005 here at Franz, and I was here for a number of years playing.
After starring at Wichita Heights and Wichita West high schools as a quarterback, Johnson could be seen running up and down the field for the Friends Falcons from 2004 to 2008.
I made all conference, honorable mention. But a lot of our success, we had a lot of success as a team. So, I didn't do anything without my linemen.
That was in 2005, when Johnson had his best season as a sophomore, running for 499 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, scored a few touchdowns here.
Back on the field now, he remembers one play like it was yesterday.
We were over here, we were in robust, which is 3 backs. Got the ball, ran around here and up the sideline. And actually, I think I went right around the corner to the corner of the end zone.
Number 5, Brandon Johnson on the carry. Touchdown, Falcons.
Right after his playing days were done, he moved from the field to the sideline, serving as the team's running backs coach for 4 seasons until 2012.
For me, I always worked with young people anyway, so it was a way to help mold young men into what they should be on and off the field. I had very high standards.
And that leads us back to 2019. Johnson has served on the city council for a year now. He says that competitive drive he had on the gridiron hasn't gone away.
You have to find better ways to channel it, but it hasn't wavered at all. I hate to lose. I do everything I can to win. It's always about the team. And so now in this role as a council member, it's about the city. What can I do to make sure that we win as a city?
Chris Arnold, KSN Sports.